So before we get started, let me explain to you a little about who I am and what I do. I'm a school counselor student attending Creighton University. This session will be viewed by other students as well as my professor to critique and leave feedback for me. So do I have your permission to record and share this video with my classmates and professor?
Yeah.
Great. So our discussions today, so anything we talk about will not leave this room. They won't even be shared with your parents unless you give me permission. The only time that this may be different is if I feel like you are in danger at home, if you're in danger of hurting yourself, or you are in danger of hurting someone else. This is the only time I will share what we talk about with other people. So anything I would share with others I only do it just to help you with your goal. So do you have any questions about that before we continue?
No.
Okay, so my job today is to help you work towards a goal. So for the next 15 or 20 minutes, we're going to talk about how you can achieve your goal. We are going to write a message at the end, both of us, to help you work towards that goal. So do you have any questions before we start?
What does this message mean?
So you're going to write me a message about what you learned during our session about your goal. And I'm going to write you a message that I feel like will help you work towards that goal.
Will this be in the meeting or after it?
This will be at the very end of the meeting.
Okay.
Okay, so before we do that, what is your best hope from today's meeting? What is your goal?
To make more friends.
To make more friends. That's a great goal. How do you think that will help you in your life by making more friends?
I suppose that would make me not lonely.
Yeah, that's a good thing. You don't want to be lonely, so you want to make more friends. So I want you to think of a scale from 0 to 10. 0 being the furthest away from you achieving your goal of making friends, and 10 being that you've achieved your goal. You've made all the friends you need to make. Where do you feel like you would fit in on that scale?
5.
A 5, so right in the middle. What do you think the highest you've ever been on that scale is before towards reaching your goal?
A 7.
A 7. So you feel like you were higher in the past. Do you think that's the highest you've ever been on the scale?
Probably.
Probably. So 7 is the highest, and right now you're at a 5. So since you're at a 5 and you want to move up, obviously, by making more friends, what are some things that you think you could do to help you move up the scale, maybe to a 6?
Well, maybe I could listen more.
That's a good idea. So listening. What other things do you think you could do that would help you make more friends?
I suppose thinking about what I'm going to say before I say it.
That's a good one. Making sure that you're listening, and then you're also making sure that you're paying attention to what you're saying. Okay. So I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to think about if a miracle happened tonight while you're asleep. Now, this miracle completely solves your problem. It helps you make all the friends you need. But because you're sleeping, you don't know that the miracle occurred. When you wake up, you see that a miracle has happened. What do you think would be different?
Well, mostly, I guess I'd probably have more friends.
You'd have more friends.
I guess I'd probably feel like a better person.
That's awesome. Do you think there's anything you'd be doing differently or you'd be acting differently if you'd made more friends?
Yes. I would think that part of the miracle would be me talking like a more uh, understanding person.
Mhm. Okay, so this connects to our next one because if you're acting like a more understanding person, obviously other people would notice. Who do you think would notice first? Maybe that your behavior has changed or that you're making more friends.
Um, Probably my friends.
Your friends. What do you think that they would notice about you?
Well, I would probably, I don't know, act more confident, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I would also not just act confident, but this may sound a bit opposite, but I'd also talk less.
Because that was one of the things you said was maybe learning how to listen better.
Yeah. So I guess they'd feel like I'd be a person, they'd notice I'd be a person they could confide in or something.
That's great. How do you think you would respond to them? Do you think that maybe you would feel differently if you were acting different?
Probably.
hmm Okay, so let's go back to our original scale. You said that you were a 5. When you are a number higher, what specific things are you doing that you're not maybe doing right now?
Um, Maybe, I think the first step would probably be me talking less because you can't
Mhm.
listen if you're just talking all the time.
That's very true. Is there anything else you think you might be doing differently that you're not doing right now?
Um, I'm not really sure because anything else then I might be 1 point higher.
Okay. So your plan of making friends and the things we talked about, the behaviors you can do sounds great. However, we both know that sometimes something or someone gets in the way of us accomplishing our goal. So how do you think that could happen with your goal, and how do you think you might deal with that?
Um, I think that the overall pandemic makes it hard
Mhm.
for me to interact with my friends like normal, which makes it kind of hard to practice.
Mhm. Yeah, and
Um,
that's something you can't really control right now, obviously, with the pandemic. It's hard to be able to go out and talk with people.
mhm.
So what do you think you could do to not let that get in your way?
Like, guess I could practice with my family,
hmm
like my siblings and stuff.
I think that's a great idea, practicing. Do you think maybe you could do like a Zoom hangout with some of your friends? Maybe do like a movie night?
Maybe.
Maybe. I know it's a weird situation. I don't think there's really a solution for not being able to really see people in person. So I think that's a tough problem, but I do think that if we did think hard enough, I think we could come up with some more ways besides just practicing with your brother that we could help you find ways to um, talk with and hang out with some people your age. So before we end today, remember how I told you that I was going to have you write me a message and I was going to write you a message?
Mhm.
We are at that part in our meeting. So for the next couple of minutes, about 2 minutes, I'm going to write you a message about what I learned about your goal today and what I would like you to do working towards achieving that goal. And at the same time, you can write down a short note or a message to yourself or to me about what you discovered about your goal today. whether that's something you learned about your goal or something maybe you want to work on to achieve your goal. You can just write that down. I'm going to give you a minute to write it down as I write down my goal. And I'm going to read my message first to you, and then I'll give you time after I read my message to share your message. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, are you ready?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I'm going to share my message to you first, and then after I share it, like I said, I'm going to give you a minute or so afterwards to share yours. So I am very impressed by your understanding of what makes a great friend. You understand that by being a good listener and being more compassionate, that people will want to be your friend. I think it is awesome that you want to improve your attitude and become a better person as you work towards this goal. So since you have this goal of making more friends, I want you to notice times when other people are wanting to be your friend and see what you are doing in those times that can help you move from a 5 to a 6 on your scale. So notice when people around you want to hang out with you and do things with you, what are you doing differently than maybe the times that you've seen that it's hard for you to make friends? I think when you notice those things, it will help you start to move up your scale. So that's my message to you. Would you like to share your message to me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can go ahead and share it.
I learned that openly talking about your problems helps you gain another's viewpoint or even simply gives you ideas along the way, which helps you to solve them.
Awesome. I think that's great that you feel that by talking to me today, it's helped you work more towards that goal of making friends. So I'm going to make sure that you get a copy of the message I wrote to you. And if you would like, I'd also like a copy of your message just so that when we follow up the next meeting, I know where you're at. Like I said before, you don't have to, I won't be sharing this with anyone unless you give me permission to, but if you would like to share your message or my message with your parents or your teacher, I think that's a great thing for you to do so they're more aware of what you're working on and can maybe help you set up times or activities that you can do with your friends even during the pandemic and especially after so that you can continue working towards that goal. So thank you for being open and honest today during our discussion. Is there anything else I should know or that you want to talk about before we end our session today?
Nope.
Okay, great. I look forward to talking to you again and following up about your goal and any progress that you've made in our next session.